Hello friends, it's me, and today, Minecraft Potato War with Technoblade and Squid 2024 Reflections. Let's check out the secret I kept since the Great Potato War from I'm a Squid Kid. Together, let's go. Let's start.
You already know the story of the Great Potato War, where years ago I went head-to-head against Technoblade, competing to become the first ever player to reach 500 million potatoes collected. And I'm sure you know how it ended.
Watch me dance, Squid Kid, you lose! You lose the war!
But what if I told you there's actually a backup plan that I never got to finish? An ending where even if I couldn't become the Potato King, I could become the king of something else. This story starts off back in April of 2020. I and a bunch of other Skyblock YouTubers at the time gathered around for a game of White Elephant. If you don't know what White Elephant is, it's a gift exchange where everyone brings a gift of similar value, and the first person opens up a gift to see what's inside. Then, anyone after them gets to pick between opening up a new gift or stealing a gift that was already revealed. There were a ton of different gifts with a bunch of random items, and by pure chance, out of all the different gifts I could have ended up with, I got one full of pork. It was already known I hadn't had the best experience with a pork in the past.
It has the wrong number!
So,
To be fair, it's not necessarily a pork, it's like a pig. Technoblade never dies.
everyone had a laugh.
Oh my god.
And at the end of the day, when I was figuring out what to do with the equivalent of 361,000 pork chop, an idea came to me. Pig minions. I decided I wanted to not only keep fighting for rank 1 in potato, I also wanted to go for rank 1 in pork. Very ambitious, but it wasn't impossible. And I was kind of behind in the potato war at the time, so I figured it wouldn't hurt to have a backup plan. Now, I couldn't really just pick up my potato minions and put down pig minions because I was kind of actively participating in the Great Potato War, so that meant the only way I could place more minions down was to place them on a different Skyblock profile. Unlocking all of the minion slots and buying all of the minions and their upgrades was really expensive, but I still wanted to keep it a secret. So during the Potato War, when I would collect coins, I would list something on the auction house for people to bid on. What I wasn't telling people is some of the auctions were being listed from a different Skyblock profile, meaning the coins were going to my secret project instead of the Great Potato War. So, with having unlocked all 24 minion slots, each with a tier 11 pig minion, a flycatcher, a super compactor, and an enchanted lava bucket, all I had to do was grind my spider slayer to level 6 to actually be able to equip the flycatchers, which would make it a max pig minion setup for the time. Well, aside for the fuel at least. Catalyst would have been the best fuel, but they were just too expensive to run, and with everything going on, I was already pushing it. I didn't really give it much thought after that. I had plans to eventually hit Spider Slayer level 6, but it wasn't anywhere close to the top of my priorities list since I had a bigger battle to worry about. So I figured I would just let...
It's like a backup plan, but the main quest is Technoblade, you know? One of the biggest Minecraft YouTubers. Respect you.
the minions work and maybe check up on them once in a while. 2 months later, the Potato War came to an end way sooner than I had originally expected, so it was time to check up on the pig minion. I was nowhere near number 1 pork. I don't remember how much I had exactly, but I wasn't even in the top 10. Now, 1 loss was enough for that day, so I never ended up telling anybody about what I had going on behind the scenes. The minions sat around collecting dust for ages, only receiving a few easy upgrades as Skyblock got updates. More notably, September of 2020 when the Community Center update got released, I upgraded the enchanted lava buckets to plasma buckets, which granted a 35% boost instead of a 25% boost. I also unlocked 5 extra minion slots with gems, which I saved 5% off by using code SQUID on the Hypixel store. Everything I make
Hey, bro!
off my creator code SQUID for the next 30 days, I'll be donating to the Sarcoma Foundation,
Charity.
which is the charity I attached to this video. I also reached out to Simon Hypixel, and he agreed to donate a part of what Hypixel makes through my creator code as well. So make sure you use code SQUID at checkout. Enjoy the rest of the video. January 2021.
Charity. And also 22nd ST.
The Dwarven Mines were added to the game. adding a beacon that when fueled increases minion production by 10%. But unfortunately, I couldn't use it. There's a progression tree that comes with the mining skill now called Heart of the Mountain, and you need to be Heart of the Mountain level 5 to use a max level beacon. To level it up, you have to do a bunch of different mining commissions, like mining a certain amount of mithril or titanium. So after a month of getting on every day and mining for an hour, I was finally able to place my tier 5 beacon. Then I kind of forgot about it, and the minions sat unbothered for years until May of 2023. I decided I finally wanted to make my last attempt at a rank 1 position. I had a few years of updates to catch up on, and there were 2 more minion slots that I had to unlock, and all the pig minions needed to be upgraded to level 12. Simple enough, right? Not even close. How unlocking minion slots in Skyblock works is you need a certain amount of unique minion crafts. Naturally, you'll unlock the easier and cheaper ones first, making the last ones really expensive or difficult to do. The 30th and the 31st minion slot require 50 unique minion crafts each to unlock. Although I could just buy the materials I needed, most of the minions were locked behind things you couldn't just buy with coins. So I'll go over some of them. Revenant, Tarantula, and Voidling minions. All 3 of these Slayer minions have a Slayer level requirement to craft. Luckily, it doesn't take long if you have someone helping you out. I would just spawn my boss and have someone kill it for me. I also took the opportunity to go all the way to Spider Slayer level 6 to be able to use my flycatchers that I bought. Magma Cube, Blaze, Ghast, Quartz, and Glowstone minions, all purchased from an NPC on the Crimson Isle, Skyblock's biggest island, released back in April of 2022, which had a combat level requirement of 24 at the time. This was kind of an issue, because I didn't really play on the profile other than maintaining the minions. I was only combat 19 with no good gear and no accessories, meaning I couldn't do a ton of damage on my own and I would die really easily. I didn't want to spend ages grinding my combat level, so after asking around, people generally agreed the best way to hit combat 24 quickly was to grind Bestiary. So that's what I did. Bestiary basically rewards you for killing a certain amount of each mob in the game. 2 hours later, I had barely gained any combat XP at all, and I stopped because the next Bestiary milestone was only going to reward me with 10,000 combat XP, which was nothing compared to the roughly 2 million combat XP I needed to hit combat level 24. So I had to get creative. I'm
not gonna lie, there's a lot of dedication and passion for it.
To think of a new method that nobody's ever really talked about before. And I thought back to when Tilted Honey was boosting me to unlock the Voidling minion at Enderman Slayer level 4. Even though I wasn't able to kill all the bosses myself, which meant I didn't gain combat XP, I was still gaining combat XP from the mini bosses I was spawning, even if I wasn't doing damage to them. The Void Gloom mini bosses would reward a decent amount of combat XP, even while only doing a tier 3 Slayer contract. The tier 4 Void Gloom mini bosses would give even more, so that was my method. I would start a tier 4 contract, spawn mini bosses, let Tilted Honey kill them for me, and once a main Slayer boss spawns, I would let it kill me so I could start a new Slayer contract and keep spawning mini bosses right away. This method got me around 1 million combat XP an hour, so after only a few hours, I finally hit combat 24, granting me access to the Crimson Isle. Red Sand and Mycelium. These minions were probably the biggest headaches to get out of all of them. They're also on the Crimson Isle, but here's the catch. To craft each tier of these minions, you need a higher and higher amount of reputation. Here's a quick rundown of how the Crimson Isle's reputation system works. When you enter the Nether, you can choose one of 2 factions. Mage for the Mycelium minion, or Barbarian for the Red Sand minion. You head to your faction's mission board and accept your 5 daily missions, each rewarding you anywhere between 30 and 125 reputation with your faction. There are 6 different types of missions. Dojo. Various mechanically skill-based challenges that put you to the test. Probably one of the cooler things to do on the whole island. I would do my dojo mission every time it was offered because they were pretty easy. Fetch. Hand in a random material from the Crimson Isle. Sometimes I wouldn't be able to do this mission because most of the materials it asks for are untradeable. Rescue. Go look for and save a captured faction NPC from enemy territory without getting caught by sneaking past the guards. This one was a bit annoying, but it was very doable. Boss quest. You have to go kill the Magma boss or the Kudra boss. These took too much time, so I decided to just skip it if it ever came up. Fishing. Catch a specific trophy fish. Nothing too bad, just a bit tedious. And the last type of mission are mini-boss missions. They require you to kill one of the 4 mini-bosses around the Crimson Isle. Most of these I could do, which brings me to the other main way of gaining reputation, mini-bosses. On top of the reputation reward for doing a mini-boss mission, killing each mini-boss grants a small amount of reputation once a day. So every day I would go to the Crimson Isle and accept all my daily missions. Then, kill all the mini-bosses except for Ashfang. And by kill all the mini-bosses, I mean I would do the minimum 1 million damage required to each one, and beg someone to kill it while working on my other missions like doing the dojo or rescue mission. After doing all I could every day, I would maybe gain 200 reputation with my faction, and that might seem okay until you learn that I needed 12,000 reputation with each faction. Meaning, once I had
Bruh.
reached 12,000 reputation in one faction, I had to swap factions and start again, but from negative 2,000 reputation and go back up to 12,000 again. So yeah, that took literal months, but eventually I crafted the minions I needed from that island. Moving on to the tier 12 farming minions. To upgrade any farming minion to tier 12, not only do you need the millions of coins worth of whatever crop it is, on top of that, you need 75 pelts. How do you get pelts, you ask? Well, to get pelts, you go to Trevor the Trapper. You then track down and kill any mob he wants you to anywhere on the island, and that gives you a few pelts. I needed a total of 3,500 of them. Anyways, I upgraded all my unique farming minions as well as 31 of my pig minions, bringing their base minion speed from 13 seconds down to 10 seconds. Moving on to the vampire minion. To get this minion, we had to go to the Rift Dimension. Probably the most interesting minion to obtain in the entire game. To get it, you have to do hours of unique quests that involve you going into a mirror dimension, fighting a giant slime that has tentacles this time, calculating what somebody owes on their tax return, hacking into the mainframe, and hand-feeding Skyblock's biggest glizzy gobbler, until you eventually get to the Stilgore Chateau, where you collect blood off a few vampires to unlock the minion. It's some of my favorite content added to Skyblock to date, so I definitely recommend you check it out for yourself. And at last, I unlocked my 31st minion slot. There were only a few upgrades I had left to do. I upgraded each of my minions using mithril infusions I bought, granting a 10% speed buff. Something else I'm doing that probably doesn't even matter is I started buying a new beacon fuel that is way more expensive because it grants all minions an 11% speed increase rather than 10% from the cheaper alternative. But that's not even the most expensive part. Now that I had a max minion setup, I started fueling the minions with Hyper Catalyst, an upgrade to Catalyst that makes them quadruple the output instead of only tripling it, and they last twice as long. With the best minions, powered by the best fuel, with the best beacon, it was time to bring my ult account back. But,
For the best player, I think?
Of course, it wasn't that easy. In Skyblock, if you're in an AFK pool for too long, you'll get kicked to limbo. To avoid that, I needed to eat a booster cookie. But, to even buy booster cookies, you needed to be Skyblock level 7. And I didn't really want to grind Skyblock levels on my ult account, so instead I just traded over a bunch of pets that give Skyblock XP. To be extra cautious, I even had my roommate trade over the level 100 pigment pet because I didn't want anyone to be suspicious of my auction history. Having a level 100 pigment pet active on the island increased the speed of pig minions by 30%. Now, I had to keep him on my island 24/7, otherwise I wouldn't be getting max rates. It was a waiting game now. I had already looked into the pig collection leaderboard and there were two main people. The guy in first, Ken Sparrow. He had first place since before December of 2020, and he was ahead of me by a ton, but he only had 30 minion slots unlocked, while I had the max of 31. MP4. He was pretty far behind Ken Sparrow, but he had 31 minion slots unlocked and was gaining on him. This was pretty concerning, because if he was using the same minion setup as me, and we were collecting pork at the same rate, that would mean I would never catch him. Luckily, running Hyper Catalyst in your minions costs around 20 to 25 million coins every single day, making it very unlikely that anyone else would be using them. August came around, and with Derpy being in office, I decided I would collect my minions to see where I stand on the leaderboard. I was in 4th place with 204 million pork collected, which was promising since I've
Yeah! Top 5! Yeah!
tracking everyone else's rate of increase, and I was able to confirm they weren't using Hyper Catalyst as much as I was. I just had to keep waiting, as there's actually no way to grind a meaningful amount of pork by hand. It's all minions. October 23rd, MP4 actually
Which
ended
was last year. Wow.
up taking first place from Ken Sparrow, so he got his sweet taste of victory. But it was short-lived because it wasn't even 2 weeks later, on November 4th, I would finally collect my minions and take the throne for the most pork collected in Hypixel Skyblock. Exactly 4 years after I lost my spot as the Potato King. A week later, MP4 reached out to my business email confused. Hey Squid, this is MP4. The current second place holder in Pork Chop collection. I was also first place a few weeks ago until you overtook me with a 28 million Pork Chop lead. Also having never seen you on the Pork Chop leaderboard. I assume you had your API off in order to surprise people with your placement. Your sudden reveal in both placement and collection was definitely quite surprising, especially considering your past experiences in collection wars. That surprise aside, I am now just thoroughly confused about, you know, why. I have been grinding this collection for the better part of 4 years and have not seen your presence in it once until this week. I assume the current situation I'm experiencing is kind of like what you felt when Techno overtook your place 3 years ago. So hopefully you can relate to my plea of asking why. I don't even want to know how you did it, I would just like a reason to why you did it. And then he attached some screenshots proving it's him. So MP4, this is why. I did it because it started as a backup plan 4 years ago in case I lost the Great Potato War. And more recently, I decided it was about time that I finished what I started. Now that I had the #1 spot, I figured I should probably make a proper build. So instead of housing my minions in wooden boxes, I would house them in pink glass boxes surrounding a statue of Technoblade, who I'm actually going to be talking about for the rest of this video. I was just an average college student when Hypixel Skyblock came out in June of 2019. I worked a summer job on a concrete crew for 60 hours a week. And when the Potato War started, I was in my second year of university, and now I stream and make YouTube videos for a living. Although me and Techno were rivals for the Potato War, we didn't actually hate each other. And throughout the Potato War, he was actually incredibly nice to me, starting all the way back to when he first uploaded the Great Potato War. He sent me a message in-game telling me to comment on his video so he could pin it, helping drive traffic to my YouTube channel that only had 67 subscribers at the time. It helped me out a ton, and at the end of the month I had over 30,000 subscribers. I always had this idea of maybe one day meeting him in person at a convention or something so I could say thank you face to face, but unfortunately I never got the chance to do so. It's been around a year and a half since we lost him, and truly, it's weird. Stuff just hasn't felt the same since, and I don't even know how to explain it. And it sucks. We really were so lucky to have someone like Techno as a leader in our community. Again, all the money I make from this video is going to the Sarcoma Foundation, which I've attached to this video, and I encourage you guys to donate to it as well if that's something you're interested in. So thank you, Technoblade, thanks for everything you did for me, and thank you for everything you did for the community. Technoblade
so
never dies.
Technoblade never dies. Thank you so much. I'm Squid Kid. You did an incredible job in this video. The secret I've kept since the Great Potato War. It's incredible. And you also mentioned that Technoblade is awesome, right? I watch his videos, and I can confirm say that Mr. Beast was correct. He was a great, excellent storyteller. He makes his videos sound so incredible to watch. And it's a pity, it's a loss to lose him. Kind of sad. Yes. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe. Thank you. Truly, thank you so much. Have a good day.